Hey guys, this is Pidge, welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about quality of life and my personal wish list for the game. Some of these are unique and some of these have been brought up before by various other people on the forum or content creators, but this is my personal opinion. I'd be interested to know what you think of my list, what you agree with, what you don't agree with, but just remember this is my opinion and opinions are what make us all different. So here we go. I have 20 to go through, and these are my top 20. So number 1, at the moment I'm running a Spectre build. I usually play minion builds. I do play other builds, but I usually play minion builds. So some of these are going to be minion orientated. So at the moment I'm playing a Spectre build. The Spectres that I'm running are Syndicate Operatives, and I have 4 of them. Now the reason I have 4 of them is because I have a level 21 Ray Spectre and a +2 wand. Now, if I was to die, for whatever reason, then I need to reactivate all of my auras, and to do that I need to swap weapons. Instantly my Spectre has died, one of them, and one of my zombies. And that's because it doesn't recognise the fact that I have this +2 wand in my other weapon slot now. This is a huge frustration, because now I reactivate all my auras and then I have to come back here. I need to put Desecrate into the build, I need to Desecrate, I need to find the Spectre, summon the Spectre, change the zombies, summon the zombie. You get the picture. This is extremely frustrating, and the way I got around it in the last league was actually to put another +2 wand in my offhand, but I mean, they're not cheap, and I feel like this is something that can be overcome quite easily. So allow the offhand version of your weapons to actually respect what is in your main hand. Number 2, sticking to the same theme, we're looking at Spectre Banks. Spectre Banks should 100% be permanent. The way that Animate Guardian works is that your gear is tied to your character. Whatever you put in your Animate Guardian, you can swap gems, it doesn't matter. When you resummon an Animate Guardian, it instantly gets the gear back that you, as a character, have put onto an Animate Guardian. That is fantastic, it's really, really good. Can we have the same please for Spectre Banks? Maybe limit it to 5 or 10, it doesn't really matter. But it's a huge frustration if for whatever reason you lose your Spectres. I don't see a reason why we can't have a permanent Spectre Bank. I don't know of the UI, I don't know how you would choose which one you want to summon, but you know, that's for the devs if they agree to come up with a solution, but I feel that that is required in the game. Number 3, please allow us to see our current Animate Guardian gear in-game, somehow. Again, I'm not a UI developer, I don't know how, but I feel that we should be able to access what items are on our AG. Sometimes I feel like, oh, could my AG do with an upgrade? Is this helmet better than the helmet he's already got on? I have no idea. I'm having to think sort of a week back. What helmet did I put on him? I really don't know. I feel that that would be a nice quality of life. Okay, moving away from minions now, number 4, linking items. Do I really need to click a button 1,000 to 2,000 times to 6-link an item? I feel like this is incredibly outdated and frustrating. I feel like in the crafting bench we could actually have an option to link until at least 5-link and link until 6-link, and all that will do is continually cycle through your fusings until it hits your required goal, and if you run out of fusings it just stops, and that's it. It's the same result, it's just not using 2,000 clicks. Number 5 is the exact same, but with Jeweler's Orbs. It doesn't take as much with Jeweler's Orbs by far, but to get 5 or 6 sockets, I don't see why we can't just automate that process with the crafting bench. Number 6, I would like to see selling to vendors accessible from within the stash tabs. At the moment, and this is particularly a point with quad tabs, if I have this quad tab here, And if I want to sell all this stuff, I have to individually click all the stuff out of here into here, and then go to the vendor, click all again, accept, put all the money back in my bank. It is just to empty a quad tab takes a hell of a lot of time, far more time than is necessary. I don't know if this is in there for a reason, so if it is, that's fine. But I mean, this is something that I would like to see in the game. Just sell directly from here. So here maybe I can, not control click, but maybe shift click or alt click, I don't know, and you get the option to sell it to vendor, or even just a sell to vendor button up here somewhere, and then you click the ones you want to sell and then click sell, something like that. Okay, number 7. When I take a full stash of divination cards, or a full stack of divination cards to Navali, trade divination cards, and I put the div cards in here, why do I need to press trade? I mean, this is a tiny thing. I know this is a tiny thing, but this all adds up. Why do I need to press trade? Like, she has a full stack, just when I put it in there, give me whatever, and then I take it out. And that just takes away an unnecessary extra click. That one might sound picky, I get that. Number 8. Do I really need to talk to Kirak before I talk to Zaina, before I can access a Citadel? I really don't think that's necessary anymore. Can we just talk to Zaina and then access the Citadel? That would be a lot nicer. While we're on the topic, when we do get a Citadel on here, can we please get access to our stash tabs the same way that we do currently with Harvest? That way we can use chisels, we can use alks, we can use chaos orbs, we can use valors, whatever we want to use on this map, without getting to this point here, talk to Kirak, talk to Zaina, get to this point, and then think, oh, I've got to go back to my stash, I've got to get chisels, I've got to get alks, I've got to get chaos orbs. And we just access the stash tab from here and then apply whatever we need to apply. That would be really nice. Number 10, we're going to talk about Wisdom Scrolls. This was brought up on Bay Class, and I'm really glad that it was, but I feel like not only is this demanded in the game, but it's also quite a good improvement to the game. If we were to remove Wisdom Scrolls and you drop all rares as identified, and magic items, sorry, identified, then we could all adjust our loot filters to actually only show items that are of interest to us, and that is only an improvement. If I wanted to see all the rares on the floor, maybe I want to pick them all up and sell them all for alteration charge, for example, then great, I'll turn that off in my loot filter. But if I could only see boots that dropped with 30% movement speed, for example, that would be fantastic. That is such a nice quality of life improvement for me, and I'm sure for many other players. Similarly with other items, maybe I only want to see gems that drop, jewels, sorry, that drop with percentage increase energy shield. The rest of it can just be hidden in the background, and then if GGG go through with their idea about sort of not rendering items that aren't within the loot filter, this only improves the game immensely. So I would really like to see Wisdom Scrolls removed, all items dropped identified, and then Neversink and the likes can actually work on integrating that into loot filters so that we can more specify what we see on the ground, what we're interested in, and what we want to pick up. Okay, number 11, we're going to talk about maps. This has been a long time bugbear of mine. If I go to my stash tab, my map tab, and I find a map that I actually haven't completed the bonus objective in this case it's Ghetto, and here if I press Alt, I can see that I haven't completed the map, I haven't done the bonus, I haven't done the Awakening objective. The thing is, I have no idea what that bonus objective is, because it could be either complete it at least magic, complete it at least rare, or complete it rare corrupted. And I would just like to see that information here, because for me to find out now, I have to take this map, press G, open my inventory, hover over it, and see that it is corrupted rare. I would just like to see that information in the map tab, and that would streamline that whole process. I know that you know, the other option is to open my map, type in ghetto, but really, I just feel like we could have it right there on the alt click. So bonus objective, what is that? Just put in brackets, corrupted, rare, or magic. That would do just fine. Number 12 is about the green contracts that drop for heist. Could we please have a way to store these in the heist locker? That would be really nice. They just take up unnecessary space. There's often a time where I really don't want to go and do heists. I'm busy doing other things, and these can actually accumulate over various maps, so you actually take up a full column, and that full column is really useful for other things. So could we not store it in the heist locker? We would still probably get the you know, the indicator up here on in the top right to say talk to such and such a body. But so I don't really see why we need to carry him with us all the time. Number 13 is about auto sort. So again, if we go into a quad tab here, I just want a little thing here that says just auto sort all of this stuff. You often sell things here in the middle and here in the middle, and LCD just takes over, and I look at this and I just want it tidying, and it's time that I shouldn't have to spend doing. I just feel that we could just auto sort this. A very simple thing. It doesn't take anything away from the game. So yeah, I'd really like to see that. I know it's a small thing, but I would really like to see that. Number 14 is, can we have a boss is dead indicator in maps? I just feel it would be incredibly useful. Some people might think that's a small thing, but it's bothered me multiple times in the past, and I don't see why I can't sit here and request that and put that out there. The map that springs to mind, and there are multiple, but the one that springs to mind is Mudgeyser. I can run around. In fact, I did this on my video, like one of my update videos this league, where I'm unsure in Mudgeyser if I have killed the boss. You can run around the general area, it might not pop out of the floor, you run right past it, and then you start clearing mobs, and then you've got sort of 10 enemies left on the map. You think, oh, did I kill the boss? I've no idea if I've killed the boss. So then you have to run around the entire map until it says 0 enemies left, which is completely inefficient. I just feel like a little green or red light in the top right or something, just to say boss is dead, boss is alive, would just get rid of that. I'm sure I can't be the only person that would like to see this. Number 15 is, could you look at a way to add an implicit to an equipped cluster jewel without needing to remove it from the tree? This is a harvest craft to add an implicit to a cluster jewel, but removing a cluster jewel from a tree can be really detrimental, because you may have, let's say, attributes in there. So if I take the cluster jewel out, that then this allows me to use the gear that I'm wearing, and that could desummon all of my specters, my animate guardian, my zombies, maybe some of my auras. It just creates a mess that I don't feel needs to happen. On top of that, it can also cost between 1 and 3 regrets just to get to the cluster that you want, and that's just to do one roll. And then you have to put it all back in, spend the points again, and then next time you come across it, you have to do the whole thing again. I just feel like, is there a way that we can get around this and actually add the implicit to jewels that are in the tree rather than having to take them out of the tree? Another request that's harvest related would be, would we be able to stack the same crafts if they are the same level and the same type? Things like this, so 3 random sockets, red, blue and green, 2 level 82s. Would it be possible to stack those? Sometimes when I get into a harvest, and a lot of harvest crafts they're too hard to pass up because they're valuable, especially earlier in the league. Even things like this that cost sort of 10-15C, that's actually really valuable in the early league, but what it can do is it can take you out of the game for half an hour. On TFT you have a half an hour cooldown, so if things don't sell in that first 15 minutes, sorry, in that first pass, then you're sat there waiting for 15 minutes because you feel you have to sell it for value. This is probably the most valuable thing you're going to get out of that map and out of the next half an hour anyway. So it just takes you out of the game for 30 minutes, and I feel like if we could stack these exact same mods, that would allow us to just continue playing for quite a bit longer. So that's something I'd like to put out there, that's something I would like to see. Number 17 of 20. Would it be possible to make the Rogue Harbour accessible from here, from the waypoint? We've got all of these different areas here, it'd be nice to see Rogue Harbour in there. Small request, but something I would like to see. Number 18, we're talking about white sockets. Can we please disallow the rolling over of white sockets? This isn't something that affects me often, but it's something that I still feel is unfair. If I get people coming into my hideout looking for harvest crafts and I'm rolling, say, random two red and blue, I feel really bad when I roll over their white sockets, and I really don't feel like I should be. To get white sockets in the first place, and we're not talking corrupted items here, we're talking items that you have either farmed Verici or bought Verici to get them. I feel like if you use a chromatic on an item with a white socket, then the white socket should stay and it should roll the other sockets. Now, there are situations where you want to re-roll over your white sockets, like if you want to put the item back into a Verici bench again, but in that case, maybe you could implement something that is maybe chromatic and regret, and that will roll all the colours. And then that gives that distinction between I want to roll all the colours, I want to keep my white sockets. I feel that would be fair to the player base. Number 19, we're looking at affinities. We seem to have affinities for most things now. One of the things that I use the most would be stacked decks. I would like to see an affinity somewhere for stacked decks, whether I can add it into my currency tab or somewhere in the divination tab. It doesn't really matter where, it just would be nice to be able to not have to come here and put all my stacked decks here, because other than that, all of the affinities work really well. And finally, number 20, we're going to look at Watchstones. So I find this a little bit frustrating. There was a time this league where I didn't want to fight Cyrus A8. I actually wanted to take out some Watchstones and fight him at A6, because I was still trying to learn the limits of my build. And here, for example, so this is Havoc Hamlets, and if I control click, it goes into the Havoc Hamlet slot. Now, what I would really like to see is if I control click again, it should go back into this slot. It doesn't, it goes into my inventory, and that's a bit of a pain if you were to unsocket sort of, you know, 8, 10, 12 of them to put them all back in. I feel like if they're in the Havoc Hamlet slot here and you control click, it should reverse this action. So yeah, that's what I would like to see. So there is my top 20 quality of life wishlist improvements I would like to see in the very, very near future from GGG. I hope you guys found this useful. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.